Benfica Football Club, based in Lisbon, Portugal, is renowned for its exceptional youth development system, often considered one of the best within Europe. Benfica have world-class academy facilities known as the Saxia Football Campus. It offers their youth players top infrastructures, advanced training pitches, and medical facilities and accommodation. Benfica also have an extensive scouting network. This identifies talent across Portugal and internationally, targeting players just as young as 6 to 7 years old. They also prioritise nurturing local Portuguese talent, ensuring a steady pipeline of skilled players. Benfica is one of the best clubs in nurturing and developing young talent, and today, boys, Robbo is going to rebuild Benfica, mainly focusing on using Wonderkids in FM24. Now, in Football Manager, my favourite thing to do is to develop regens and Wonderkids, so I'm going to thoroughly enjoy recording this video. If you boys enjoy the rebuild videos, make sure to subscribe and please leave comments on the ideas you want to see next for the next rebuild. We've got 5 years with Benfica, we've got lots of Wonderkids to develop. Let's get into this rebuild. Yes, the boys, welcome to this Benfica team. Now, in this first season, we are going to be lining up in a 4-3-3 system. Benfica currently play a 4-2-3-1 in real life, but I'm going to play this 4-3-3 system, locking in young talents such as Alvaro Fernandez, Antonio Silva and Luis. We'll also be locking in Koku and Aktakoglu. I mastered that name there, by the way. What a pronunciation that was. Just because I want them playing as much football as possible, as they are some of the best players at Benfica. Now, in Season 1, we didn't have a lot of money, but we managed to sign 2 Wonderkids to Benfica. First Wonderkid being Tygo Land from the mighty club PSV.
Make the ground shake.
For 5.5 million, he's an 18-year-old midfielder. He can kind of do a lot of things in the midfield. He can be box-to-box, he can be a playmaker. He's a great player on the game, a lot of potential. As you can see, we're currently looking to loan him out to Groningen or Vitesse. He's got a great potential in the game. For 5 million, it is worth a punt. Shout out Tidges on the edit as well. He'll probably love this signing. And boys, I know we are late into the game cycle, but Benfica only had 10 million at the start, and in the last 4 million I signed Nelson Wiper, a very popular striker on this year's game. We signed him for 4 million, and we have loaned him out to VTSC, another team in our league. They are also predicted to finish 5th. Nelson Viper could vipe us in the butts if we're not careful. They're the only 2 signings we have made, boys. If I show you, boys, the loan list of some of the players we have loaned out, there is just a vast list of so many youth talents loaned out. We've got Prestiani, Veloso, Viper, of course, Marim Neto, Henrique Araujo. There is so many talents loaned out in this first season as well. Let's simulate the first month of the Portuguese season with this team and see how we get along with our youth Wonderkid only Benfica rebuild. Okay, boys, you join me back after our first month in the Portuguese Premier League, and we've started off with a very difficult fixture here. We actually started off playing Porto away from home, where we lost 3-2 in the 84th minute to an Ivan winner. It's a very tough game to start your season. Obviously, a new tactic. We've played it in pre-season, but a tough game to begin. But we then went on to beat Braga 5-1 at home within the tactic, so it's clear to see this tactic can score goals. And then the next game against Estoril, we also scored 5 goals with Aktakoglu getting a hat-trick. And then we recently played Estrella, where we won 3-0 at home. Of course, boys, in the first season, the Champions League is in a group stage, and we have drawn Real Madrid and Arsenal. So maybe see you in the Europa League, maybe a chance at a trophy early, but that's a bit worrying. But of course, boys, in this rebuild, we are in Portugal, so we are going for that Portuguese Premier League, the Portuguese Cup, the Portuguese League Cup, and in the first season, the UEFA Champions League. Of course, in this league, Sporting and Porto are going to be our main rivals to that title. Let's simulate this first full season and see if we can lift the Portuguese Premier League straight away with this Wonderkid Benfica side. Season 1 is complete, and Benfica have finished runners-up to Porto in the league by 3 points. Yes, boys, it was only 3 points that separate us and Porto to the first Portuguese Premier League. We lost 2 games all season, one being to Sporting and one being to Porto away from home, which were both away losses, which means at home we actually were unbeaten all season, 88 points. It's a great start to this rebuild. It's a solid start. Porto's team at the start of the game with Omarodian, Galeno, Pepe, these types of players is insane anyway. So I'm quite proud of that second place finish. Of course, that means UCL football next season as well. If we look into some of the players' statistics, Pavlidis, the striker, got 19 goals. Koku got a high average rating with high player of the matches. Trubin with 18 clean sheets, but Lukaku from that midfield position. 25 assists is incredible. The player that we locked into centre mid, that has clearly worked very well. In the Champions League, boys, like I predicted, we were actually knocked out in the group stage, winning only 2 games to Arsenal and Slovan Bratislava, which means we didn't beat Bratislava in one of the games. It looks like we drew, which is quite disappointing. That meant, though, we went into the Europa League where we were knocked out in the semi-final by Tottenham Hotspur, 4-2 on aggregate. If we look at the final, Manchester United actually won on penalties. But, boys, it wasn't a trophyless season as we lifted the Portuguese Cup this season, beating Sporting in the final 3-1. If we look at this match report, Barreiro, Pavlidis and Cabral scored the goals. Barreiro, don't actually recognise that player, don't know where he's come from, but fair play. So it's good, boys, that we actually did win some silverware this season. We were also knocked out the Portuguese League Cup in the semi-final to Braga, which is a very disappointing result. If we look at that final, Sporting went on to win 2-0. That's another competition that we easily could have won. So overall for the season, of course, unlucky to go out in the UCL, but Madrid and Arsenal in your group, it's always going to be tough. A semi-final of the Europa League, a Portuguese Cup, a semi-final of the Portuguese League Cup, and second in the league. This season was we were just one step off being the top of everything, which I think next season with a few signings, a bit more development for our Wonderkids, we can definitely reach. I think that's a very solid first season. If we look at our squad and the goals, Pavlidis, our main striker, got 30 goals this season, which is pretty decent, but the main standout performer is Koku in that centre mid. 23 goals and 34 assists in 54 games. He was magnificent for us this season, a leading Premier League player now. We also had Octogoglu on that left wing getting 19 goals, which is decent. A couple of our loan boys doing well. Cabral getting 14. Barreiro, the midfielder, getting 11 and 5 goals. Di Maria in one of his last seasons getting 10 and 16. Antonio Silva, Wonderkid we locked in, who we all know and love, is looking outstanding now. 6'2". The mentals, technicals, physicals are getting there, both footed. We also locked in Alvaro Fernandez this season. Not much development on him really. Maybe it's time to look for a new left back. He got 11 assists, but it's not too great. Sheldrup, another Wonderkid who didn't get a lot of game time. We tried to loan him out and he didn't actually get a loan move. Someone that we might look to sell or loan out next season. And of course, boys, don't forget with Benfica, we are going to have so much youth talent coming through. If we look at our loans for the season, a lot of players who went out on loan, like Renato Sanchez, currently out on loan. We had Prestiani, who went to Sheffield United, who's developing, looking like a good player now. Of course, the first season we signed Nelson Viper for £4 million, who's developed now, looking like a good player. He got 16 goals for VT. So there's a lot of players coming back from loan we're either going to use or loan out again next season. The board have given us 28 million to make some transfers, but I do expect that number to go higher. We are definitely going to sell some of the deadwood in this squad. I'm going to do Seasons 2 transfers and we'll have a roundup when we're completed. Right, boys, Seasons 2 transfers were so busy getting rid of deadwood, bringing in new youth talent, making sure all the talent we already have are loaned out. Let's go through this busy summer too. Starting off, coming in the door, we had Ruben van Bommel from AZ Alkmaar for £14 million. He's a brilliant inside forward, 6'4". He's such a goal threat with pace. He's tall, he's strong. He's going to be unbelievable for us off that left wing. The new left inside forward, he plays his shots. I love this guy on the game. The biggest signing though of the summer was Job Bellingham. Now I'm bringing in Job to be a box-to-box midfielder just like his brother. It looks like he's developed pretty well at Sunderland in that first season. He's 6'2". He's got good physicals, technicals and mentals. A few bits of developments here and there, and we could be looking at a world-class midfielder. Next up, coming through the door, was the first regen that I found with the big Robbo regen filter. He's 16 years old, a lot of potential, good technicals and mentals, physicals lacking a bit, but he is only 16 years old. We'll have to keep our eye on Laros. We also brought in Ethan Nwaneri from Arsenal for £5 million, loaned him straight out. He looks decent. Ethan Nwaneri, we know he's got good potential on the game. If he turns out good, brilliant. If he doesn't, we'll sell him for profit. It's sound. I think one of the best signings of the summer was our left back, Borza. Again, a left back with great potential. It's very hard to find good young fullbacks on Football Manager, I think. So to get this guy in, good base stats, good physicals as well. At 19 years old, we're going to lock him in this season to see how he develops. And the final signing of the summer was Hector Fort at right back. Again, one for the future. We're going to loan him out this season, get him some first team football, and hopefully he'll be ready to start in the first team next season. A brilliant right back from Barca, 6'1", can play both sides as well, so good for the squad. Brilliant player, 10 million. Good signing. Now, the main out of the summer was Arthur Cabral leaving for 15 million for Saudi Arabia. When the Saudi clubs come sniffing and they offer the wages, it's impossible to keep players, isn't it, really? So he wanted to leave. 15 million, not bad. He's 27 years old. He's not fitting the quota we're going for on this rebuild anyway, so getting his wage and some money into the bank, decent. But apart from that, lads, there wasn't actually that many outgoings. But if you just look through this list here, I'm going to try and scroll down, you try and keep up. Nwaneri, Felix, Rego going back out on loan, Tygo Land, Prestiani again going on loan. There's just lots and lots of players either going on loan or a lot of the deadwood being sold. Again, it's just another season for some of the youngsters that aren't quite ready for the first team to get some first team football on loan, hopefully come back and be a part of our squad. This is going to be the players we also lock in for this season. Viper is coming back off loan and we are going to start him every single game. He's a brilliant striker on the game. We know how good Nelson Wiper can be. I'm going to give him one full season up front. If he does well, he'll stay in the team. If not, we'll look for someone else. Of course, Van Bommel, Bellingham and Bors are the new signings, and Antonio Silva, even though I'm holding him against his will, still stays in the team, and Korku can't be replaced, getting 50 plus goal contributions. As you can see, there's still more deals going on. We've still got 23 million in the bank, but we are going to simulate the first month of this first season again. Let's see how our Benfica Wonderkids can get off to a start in our season number 2. Okay, boys, the first month of season 2 has been played, and we've done pretty decent, I must say. Now, before we talk about the league, we had some Champions League qualifying rounds. We drew 1-1 with Antwerp away, but when we took them back home to the Benfica boys, 5-0, absolutely demolished. We then went away to Monaco and won 3-1, but we did lose 2-1 at home. But on aggregate, if I can do maths, we won 4-3 over both legs, so we'll be in the Champions League. Talking about league fixtures, again, we start with Porto away in the league. I don't know why this has happened both seasons in a row, but that is ridiculous. We played Porto away, we drew 3-3. Then we played Famelico, won 3-1 at home. Gueva getting a goal, which is good to see. Another youngster, 24-ish. He's not a youngster, ignore me. We then had Sporting away as well. So we've had Porto and Sporting away within the first 3 games of the season. Again, getting a draw, which I don't actually mind when we're away from home to these big teams to draw, to not give them the 3 points. But when we take them back home, we will beat them. And then we played Rio Wave in the league as well. Gueva got a goal again, and Bellingham in the 49th minute getting his first goal for the club. If you look through the goal scorers, we can see Nelson Wiper getting a few goals, Van Bommel's in a few of the score sheets. So it's looking like the players we've brought in are already settling nicely. If we look at the competitions, of course, we are in the Portuguese Premier League again, UEFA Champions League, and all of the Portuguese Cups. If I show you guys my Portuguese fixtures, we've got Lask at home, then we have Bayern away and Atletico Madrid away, 2 tough away games. We have Fenerbahce at home and Roma at home. We then have Man City at home, Feyenoord away and Partizan away. There's some difficult fixtures, to be fair. Might be tough to qualify this season, but I do back my boys. Let's see how we can do in season 2, and let's see if these Wonderkids can take us to greater heights than the first season. Lads, for season 2, I need to start on this squad screen. I think I have just seen the craziest amount of goal contributions from the most unexpected player ever. I've never seen more than this. Orkun Koku, my left centre mid advanced playmaker support, played 58 games, scoring 28 goals and getting 55 assists. 55 assists. And if I show you boys the rest of the season, you can imagine it was a good one. We did win the Portuguese Premier League. We won the Portuguese Cup and the Portuguese Super Cup, winning 3 trophies this season. Nelson Wiper absolutely dominating the goal stats in most of the competitions. If we click into this league, as you can see, we were top of the league. We only lost 2 all season, Sporting and somehow to Estrella. Nelson Wiper got 30. Koku got 22 league goals. Van Bommel getting 20, which was a good signing. Van Bommel and Koku, top of the average ratings. Koku with 11 player of the matches and 37 league assists. What is going on? Going to the rest of the squad, though. Nelson Wiper, 52 goals in 56 games. The man is a machine. He's a goal-scoring beast. Van Bommel, our new signing this season, also getting 30 goals and 9 assists. Of course, Koku with that out-of-this-world season. Joe Bellingham getting a 7.1 average rating, 12 goals, 9 assists as a box-to-box midfielder is also very good. And outside of that, Borza and Bar, the fullbacks, got 10 and 11 assists as well. Just an unbelievable season. Of course, as well, boys, we had a lot of players out on loan again. Prestiani out on loan, looking like a solid player now. A lot of 15s in there now compared to the start. We got Hector Fort here, who played 30 times on his loan. He could come back into the first team and start next year. We've also got Tygo Land in there. Hugo Felix, he's looking amazing now. Look at them technical stats. You've got a lot of youth who are performing well. Nwanyere, João Rego out on loan. The board have also given me 37 million to go and find some more Wonderkids. But honestly, boys, I cannot get over that season. 55 assists. 55 assists. I have never seen... I am absolutely bewildered. I'm going to do some season 2 transfers, boys, and I'm just going to make this team even better. This team's unbelievable. We need to start pushing for this Champions League, getting into them later rounds. Okay, boys, season 3 transfers are done. Let's get into these transfers. The first one coming into the door was Christian Mosquera. We signed him when he was 21, so he's still labelled as a Wonderkid. His physicals are absolutely unbelievable. Technically getting there as well. Mentals are decent, but it's them physicals. 17 jumping reach, the pace, strength. Next to Antonio Silva, they're going to combo so well together. Next up, My absolute boy, Simone Profundi. This is my Di Maria replacement for the right wing. I think he's got the creativity like Di Maria had. He's got good physicals, mentals, technicals. Anyone who's used Profundi knows how good he is in the match engine. He is going to cook on that right wing. We've then got a regen here called Fred. I mean, physically, the pace and acceleration is very worrying, but everything else is bang on for 5 million. You can't really go wrong. Then at left back, boys, we've signed Tom Roth, one of the best left backs on this game. 6'4", 16 crossing. He is a perfect fullback for this year's Football Manager. And then finally, boys, we signed Batambe. Again, just another regen. If he does well, we're going to loan him out. We'll see. If not, whatever, someone else we can sell on in the future. On the outs this season, we actually made quite a lot of money. We had some of the older heads going out because with this rebuild, I don't want a lot of older players in the team. So Bar, Barreiro, Best and Pavlidis, all like 27, 28 now. I want to bring through the young talent and give them a chance in the first team, so they all left. Tactically, we are not changing a thing. I mean, I can't change a thing, really, with how well it went. This is the players that we're locking in this season as well. I am worried about locking in this back four, but I want to make sure these all play as much and play together as much as possible. Profundi on the right, Van Bommel and Koku, the 55 assist man from centre mid. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, but this is what we're going to do for the rest of the season, boys. Let's do our 1 month roundup and let's see how we can start this third season with Benfica. Okay, boys, after 1 month in the Portuguese league, Benfica are still flying. Now, we lost in the Super Cup to Porto, but we'll let them have the little pity trophy while we take the rest. We beat Rio Ave on the opening day, Van Bommel and Wiper with the goals, and then Frederick Orsons got the goal against Sporting in a big away win, 1-0. We then played Morrison's and beat them 2-1. Mascara getting a goal for Benfica, his first club, and Wiper, and then we played again with Wiper getting a hat-trick and Mascara again getting another goal. Probably a bit of a threat off set pieces this season. If I show you, boys, the Champions League fixtures for this season, again, a competition we now need to start trying to get through them league phases into them quarter-final type regions. We got Rangers, Man City, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, PSV, Tidges, you're getting battered, mate. Liverpool at home, thankfully. Dortmund away and Hoffenheim. I mean, some difficult games. Rangers, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, PSV, Hoffenheim should be wins. We should comfortably get through. Of course, competing in all competitions again, looking to retain these Portuguese Cups too. Let's simulate the full season with our Wonderkid team and see if we can win even more trophies. Yes, boys, Season 3 with Benfica is completed and we have had the second place season of nightmares. Literally in everything, as you can see, Porto have beat us to that first place. In the league, Porto only lost 1 game this season. Very, very impressive. We lost 4 and we lost the league by 3 points. One of the games being against Porto away from home. Nelson Viper, they've got 32 goals in the league, which is incredible. Profundi with 17 assists, my absolute goat. A very unlucky league run, but Porto losing 1 game they deserve to win the league. In the other competitions, we were knocked out in the knockout playoff round by Juventus 3-2 on aggregate. Again, we need to start getting better in the Champions League, getting past these playoff rounds, getting to the quarter-final, semi-final, potentially final by the end of this rebuild. We've been very poor in the Champions League. Obviously, the teams are amazing, but we should be getting better by now. But like I said, boys, Porto this season just had our number. In the semi-final here, getting knocked out 3-2, and in the final, Porto, oh, they've still yet to play it, but I'm going to predict that Porto are going to beat VTSC again. Porto just having our number. If we look who, oh my God, it's Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is having us off in Portugal. And again, in the Portuguese League Cup, we were knocked out by Porto 1-0. If we look at the final, Sporting on penalties actually beat Porto. Please tell me Gyökeres got them. Please tell me Gyökeres got them. Never mind, I can't click into it for some reason. I'll never find out. And we were runner-up again in the Portuguese Super Cup, again to Porto. If we look at the squad numbers, Viper got 46 goals in 47, which is incredible. Van Bommel getting 21 goals and 14 assists. Koku, not as good as his 83 goal contribution season, but he got 18 goals and 20 assists. Profundi, 12 and 24. A lot of good numbers throughout the team, a lot of good development. If we look at Profundi now, getting there with the development as well, he's just an absolute baller. I love that guy. We've got 32 million to spend and we're getting to this regen region now where we can start looking for regens in the market. We need to be better for next season. There's no way we can be runner-up like that to Porto in every single cup and every single competition. Let's see who we can sign in season number 4. Okay, boys, welcome back for seasons 4 transfers. This was a very, very busy transfer window. A few things happened that didn't actually want to happen, but with the nature of the club Benfica, they always do move on to the bigger clubs. So let's go through some some of these outs and ins for season 4. Starting off on the outs, Koku, our midfielder, who has had the best centre mid performance I've ever seen, has left for Saudi Arabia for 60 million. He's an absolutely amazing player. As you can see, that season there with 22 league goals and 37 assists, that is probably the best season I've ever seen from a midfielder. But when Saudi Arabia come knocking with the wages they pay, you have no option but to sell. He's 26 in his prime. It means we can bring through a new youth candidate. We also sold Aktakoglu. I probably butchered his pronunciation, but he is also a great player, but he is 28 years old now. He was wanting to leave. We got 21 million for him. Last season, he scored 4 goals in 28. He didn't have a good season at all, so I don't mind that. And we also got rid of fan favourite Sheldrup as well, a player who just wasn't developing. We were trying to give him opportunities. Loans never really developed. We sold him for 5 million. He's going to go on and be a great player for Feyenoord, but he just doesn't quite get in our team with the options we have now. But one of the biggest outs was Antony Trubin, who went to Tottenham Hotspur. He signed for them for £37 million. Been a very solid keeper for us over these last 3 years. But again, like I say, boys, when these bigger clubs with the bigger reputations come calling, it's so hard to keep hold of these players. We decided to let him go. He was unhappy at the club, so we all know morale manager as well. 37 million, not too bad. He's a great keeper on the game, though he will be missed. But what's more important is how you replace them. And let's talk about our transfers in, boys, because the first transfer into the club is Dennis Seaman, very popular on FM24. I think Stuttgart got relegated and he had a release clause of £20 million. And when Trubin was leaving, I looked for a Wonderkid keeper. When I saw he had that release clause, I knew it had to be Dennis Seaman who came in. He's a consistent keeper, 21 years old, lots of room to develop still, and his stats already look mental. We're also now entering the time of regens, boys, and we found Valsic on the regen filter. 16 finishing, 16 first touch, 16 composure, places shots, 6'1", bit of pace. This guy has got everything in his locker to become a top striker. We're going to try and develop him, maybe a few loans. He looks insane. We also found another striker in Fabio Roberto, again someone we're looking to loan out from Brazil. Good finisher, good mentals, good physicals, 6'2", 18 years old. Scouts don't rate his potential too highly, which is a bit worrying, but we did only sign him for £6 million. Hopefully he can develop into a great player as well. But boys, I think this is a player who is going to go on to be great for us. This is Velikovic, the left back from Serbia, 18 years old. Look at them physicals. He's both-footed. Mentals are okay, but the technicals already at just 18. Tackling, technique, crossing, all at 14. We signed him for £5 million and we've loaned him out to Braga for the season to play in the Portuguese Premier League, first team football for that development. I think he's going to be an amazing regen for us. And finally, boys, after all them sales, Koku to Saudi and all these big numbers, Jorel Hato at 21 years old looks like the best left back I think I might have ever seen. We absolutely broke the bank to sign him, do not get me wrong. We spent £99 million, but I was looking on the transfer list, and as you can tell by the regens, there wasn't much youth talent out there. This was the best player I could find who fit our team in a position we needed, that left back position. 16 crossing, marking, 15 tackling, physicals are crazy. He can play centre back, he could play DM, he could play midfield. What a player he is. And if we were to pick our best 11, boys, this is how the team looks this season. It looks absolutely incredible. Let's go do our first month roundup for season 4 and see how these boys get on. And guess what, lads? The first month of season 4 has been unbelievable. 5 games in the Portuguese Premier League and 5 wins. The first game being a 3-1 win, Wiper and Silva with the goals. A 4-1 win there with Profunde, Bellingham, Tygo Land, Mascara. Tygo Land, by the way, who we've loaned out for a few seasons, and look at him now to replace Koku in that midfield. He looks unbelievable. He's still got room to develop. I'm happy this guy has done so well on his loans. He is going to be a key player for us now. Sporting as well, we beat 2-1. A Pinamonti own goal in the 91st minute one. That's a big game away from home as well. Then we beat Estrella 3-1 in the league and Santa Clara 2-1. Like I said, boys, these are the players we are actually locking in. Tygo Land is going into that midfield. We need to have a big season for us. Let's see how we can do in season 4. I'm going to be honest, lads, season 4 here, I cannot quite believe what I am seeing. We have come second place in the league again to FC Porto after only losing 1 game. We lost 1 game all season with a 94 goal difference. We scored 119 goals in the league and we didn't win the league. Eddie Howe's Porto has beat us by 1 point. I don't think I've ever done a season where I've lost 1 game to Gil Vicente as well. It's a bad loss. 94 goal difference and we have not won the league. Absolutely crazy stuff from Porto. Eddie Howe must be cooking up a storm with them 4-3-3, Omarodi and Pepe. They've got some great players, but that is mental. So we do come second again in the Portuguese Prem. Van Bommel getting 21 goals. There's no other top scorer up there this season, which is quite worrying. Profundi getting a good average rating. Van Bommel getting a lot of player of the matches. Seaman only getting 11 clean sheets. Diogo Costa for Porto, 22 clean sheets in 34 is crazy. Jorel Hato, our big money signing who we locked in at left back, 18 assists. It looks like he's had a great season. But this is something that is very promising. We got knocked out in the quarter-final of the Champions League to Arsenal. It was 6-3 over on aggregate, but we are now getting in the mix with some of these big boys, Bayern, Barcelona, Milan. Quarter-final of the Champions League is very good. We did manage to win the Portuguese Cup, though. It wasn't a trophyless season, beating Braga in the final 1-0. Ethan Nwaneri getting 5 goals across the competition, which is great to see. We were runners-up also, though, in the Portuguese League Cup, with Porto again pipping us to that trophy. I think in this simulation we've been so unlucky that Porto have been so good, because without Porto being this good, look at the gap there, Sporting on 70 points, we'd be walking this league. Squad-wise, though, if we look at the goals, Van Bommel had a great season again with 29 goals. Buffon having an even better season this year, that's more like it. 24 goals and 16 assists. If we look at his stats now, he is absolutely unbelievable. This is why he is the best Wonderkid on the game. Mosquera getting 23 goals from centre-back, must have been great off set pieces. Wiper only playing 17 games with 33 off the bench. That tells me, yeah, Nwaneri. I think Nwaneri played up front for us this season, which is quite crazy, to be honest. I mean, his stats are looking very good, his development is very good, but I don't think he should be playing up front. If we look at the assists as well, Joel Hato from left back getting 11 goals and 29 assists. That is an absolutely astounding season. 40 goal contributions from a fullback. Bellingham with 18 goals and 17 assists as well is great. The team is performing very, very well. If you look at the average ratings, 7.5, 7.4, 7.4, 7.4. There's been some amazing, amazing players this season. Our budget for season's 5 transfers, lads, is 27 million. Again, we're going to be hunting for them regens. But what I want to point out, lads, is the importance of loans for young players on FM. Tygo Land came in, we loaned him out for a few seasons. He's now around first team level, so we lock him in, and look how good he looks now. 3-star current ability apparently, but look at their mental stats, technicals, physicals are getting there. The importance of bringing players in, loaning them out, making sure they get that first team football. Look at that, 3 loans of first team football. He comes back to us, gets a 7.3 average rating. Also, boys, in our youth academy, Benfica's youth is amazing. Look at this player coming through here, a 16-year-old midfielder with 20 determination, good technicals already, 18 technique. There's so many good players coming through. Another one here, 16-year-old centre-back. But before we do season 5, boys, like I always say, these saves are going to be available on my Patreon when the video releases. Go check that out in the link in the bio. You could take over these saves and you can potentially see if you could do a better job than me with all of these Wonderkids. We've got Profundi, Mosquera, Silva, Hato. What a fun team this is. So if you boys are interested in stuff like that and you also want access to any of the tactics I use on rebuilds, check that out in the link below. But let's get on with season 5 transfers. Okay, boys, in season's 5 transfers, we have signed some absolutely ridiculous regens. There must have been a golden generation of Football Manager. Check this out. Before we get to the ins, though, let's look at the outs. We only had one major sale this season. It was Thomas Araujo, the centre-back. Again, with saves like this, we want to be trying to shift out players around 26, 27, 28 in their prime years for the most amount of transfer fee. We sell him to PSV for 27 million. Shout out Tidges. He is a very good centre-back, but with what we're doing in this save, when he gets around this age and we can get 27 million, it's so worth the sale. Now let's talk about these ins, boys, and Luke Barry here from Anderlecht, the first player. What a midfielder this is. This man is 6'2". He's got the mental stats of a veteran. His technicals already, tackling 16, marking 14. Physicals are getting there. We're going to be training him as a defensive midfielder, as a ball-winning midfielder. 19 teamwork, aggression's there, decisions, bravery. That is one of the best regen midfielders I've ever seen. He is 18 years old. 25 million from Anderlecht, but well worth it. What a player. Speaking of players, we also found an amazing Japanese striker in Awanga. 17 finishing, 18 off the ball, 16 determination, technique, dribbling, first touch. I'm telling you, boys, he was a golden generation in 2027. What a player this is. He signed for us for only £5 million. Next player, boys, is Bogacevic. Again, another ball-winning midfielder who looks insane. 6'3". Physicals are great. He's bow-footed. He's aggressive. He works hard. His tackling's good. Good marking ability. Passing lacking a little bit, but good vision. Lots of potential to grow. 19 years old for £6 million again. A new winger comes through the door in Lucas Alvarez, 18 years old. Again, boys, like I'm saying, this generation of players is incredible. Look at the amount of 16s, 15s knocking about here. He's a 6'1" winger. We all know in this game, when you have tall wingers, they dominate the back post. He signed for us for £7 million from Racing Club. And finally, boys, I had a bit of spare money lying around. It would not be a Wonderkid video without getting this man through the door. Mastan Tuono joins the club. Whether he's going to start or appear off the bench, he can play both wings. He's an amazing player. £13 million in total. Lots of potential still. Now, that is the season 5 transfers complete. Again, we're going to be locking in Land in the advanced playmaker. Awanga is going to go up front. The Japanese striker, I've got lots of faith in this guy to get lots of goals for us. Barry's getting locked in that DM position to learn the position and become a world-class CDM. And again, the same defence. Let's hope in season 5 we can have our best season yet. We've had all these years of development now. It is time for these players who have been here for a couple of years to have a breakout season. Let's go to our 1 month roundup and see how we're we're doing to start Season 5. Season 5 has commenced, boys. 1 month has passed, and this is the best start we have ever had to a season. We beat Porto in the Super Cup, finally getting something back on them, beating them 2-1 there. But in the league, we have not conceded a goal. 3-0 against Morenese, Nwaneri, Pafunde, and Telosevic getting the goals. Casapia came up, Barry getting his first goal for the club, Pafunde again, Nwaneri, Ruben van Bommel. The third game, Pafunde gets a goal, Iwanga gets his first goal, Nwaneri again bagging the goals. We then beat Nacional away, Iwanga getting our only goal, our new striker, and then we beat Sporting at home 1-0. We have scored 3, 7, 10, 11, 12 goals and not conceded one in the league. This puts us top of the league with Porto close behind again. Can we get further in that Champions League, and can we sweep up with these cups? Let's see what we can do in this final season as we simulate Season 5. Yes, the boys, in our 5th and final season, we beat Porto to the Portuguese Premier League. Get in! This season, we beat them by 3 points. It came very close. Again, we only lost 1 game all season to Sporting. Sporting also had a great season, back up at 87 points. As you can see by the top scorers here, Karim Kanate and Omar Odion are in the Portuguese Premier League. Now, how unlucky do you have to be where you do a rebuild in Portugal and them two end up in the league against you? Apart from that, though, Iwanga with 17 goals, Mascara again from set pieces, 17 goals, Pafunde getting a high average rate, and we also had Pafunde getting the most player of the matches, 25 assists Pafunde in the Portuguese Premier League is insane. And Tygo Land, like I said, boys, long these players out, develop them, bring them into the first team, they'll deliver 14 assists this season. If you look at the stats as well, we scored 100 goals this season, only conceding 20 as well. Amazing season. Most shots by 80 for 695 shot. We're incredible. Again, boys, unfortunately though, we were knocked out in the round of 16 of the Champions League, only 4-3 this time by Juventus. If you're going to take this save over on the Patreon, that is your challenge to win the to win the Champions League with this team. In the Portuguese Cup, we were the winners again, boys. We beat Benfica in extra time 3-0 in that final. Wiper, Nwaneri and Van Bommel in extra time, just being too strong for that Porto team in a bit. Eddie Howe. We were semi-finalists against Braga, and of course we won the Portuguese Super Cup. If we look at the squad numbers again this season, you've got Mascara getting 29 goals from set pieces, which is incredible. Iwanga, the striker, 26 goals in his debut season, isn't bad at all. I mean, if you look at him, he looks like such a great player. He is wanted by Chelsea and Damac now, so clearly has the talent. Nwaneri getting 23 goals and 15 assists, a bit of a unsung hero in this save. Like I said, boys, we signed Nwaneri from Arsenal when he was 18 years old. He was nowhere near this ability before the loans in the first team football. Develop your players by first team football and they will repay you in the future. Pafunde, 38 assists and 19 goals from an inverted winger position. He is just absolutely world class by this point. Joe Bellingham, someone who's been here since early again with 15 goals and 16 assists. He's been a great player for us. Tygo Land with 26 assists and 13 goals in that midfield at that advanced playmaker spot. Incredible numbers. But boys, before we end this video, if we quick pick our best 11 for the team after the end of this 5 years, this is the team. Nwaneri goes up front, Van Bommel and Pafunde on the wing, Land, Bellingham and Barry. Barry in that CDM position, by the way. Let's have a look at his development. He's now a natural defensive midfielder, and you are looking at one of the best young players in the world, if not the best. He is absolutely insane. You've got a defence of Hector Fort, again, a player we signed from Barcelona for cheap, now worth 50 million, an amazing right back. Silva, Hato, Velikovic goes in at left back, a player with still lots of room to improve, but look at his stats already. Dennis Seaman, who came in for Trubin, an amazing goalkeeper. We have built an absolute unbelievable Wonderkid team with players on the bench like Mascara, who should be starting real. If we put Mascara in there, that would probably be my best 11. Look at the links, look at this, boys. Oh, it's beautiful. If you boys are to take over the save, you have 38 million to spend. And if we look over the time we were here, boys, we managed to win 2 leagues and 6 cups. I would have wanted to have won more league titles, but if you look at the seasons where we didn't win the league, Porto were beating us to leagues when we'd only lost 1 game. I think Porto just had an unbelievable 5 years during this rebuild as well. Like I said, boys, if you take over this save, try and win that Champions League. It's the only thing we couldn't get our hands on in this rebuild, but I hope you enjoyed this Wonderkid rebuild. I love developing Wonderkids. It's my favourite thing to do on the game. Leave a comment any rebuilds you would like to see me do in the future. Remember, boys, to like and subscribe, and if you want to carry on, remember the Patreon link is in the description. Thank you for all the support on the YouTube, boys. Lots of love. This has been another 5-year rebuild by Robbo using Wonderkids only. Peace out, boys.